Hey guys, my name is Shakita Nyamke, and I'm a licensed school psychologist and health coach and founder of Sanctuary Wellness and Education. We're a private practice located in University Heights, Ohio, and we specialize in learning, behavioral, and attention disorders in children and adolescents. For the past several weeks, I've been sharing information about executive functioning skills, which are those brain-based skills that we need to move towards our goals, regulate our emotions, and to manage focus and attention. I've talked a little bit about some of the behavioral and or mental health disorders that can be impacted by weak executive functioning skills. Those could include ADHD. There's also an overlap in weak executive functioning skills with children who are struggling with general depression or general anxiety, specific anxiety disorders, depression, and some of those other behavioral disorders like conduct disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. This week's executive functioning skill that I'm going to be talking about is goal-directed persistence. Goal-directed persistence is defined as the ability or the capacity to have a goal, to focus on staying on track towards that goal, following through to the completion, and not being pulled in 15 other different directions as we're moving towards this goal. This can really show up, especially when we start to see our children get into those middle school and high school ages where there are things that they want to do. So, at this point, maybe there's children who are wanting to start sports, or they're wanting to get into different clubs, and they have their own personal goals that they've thought up and that they want to move towards. Some barriers that I see that get in the way of goal-directed persistence, that skill being strengthened, is as parents and even as an educator, I see sometimes when we're helping our children, or even our children are setting a goal, they have a goal that is so far away in the future, right? Sometimes when we are not able to think about like the first step, we look at the big picture. And if we're always looking at the big picture, sometimes it can be difficult to figure out what the first step is. And so a barrier to being able to stay on track towards your goal is that the goal is too far in the future. It's too far ahead. It's too far removed from the behaviors that you have to engage in on a regular basis, or the effort that you have to put in order to realize that goal. The next barrier that I see a lot is no system to track if the child or adolescent is moving towards the goal. What doesn't get tracked doesn't get measured. There's no way to know if we're moving towards the goal if we do not have a system of tracking and measuring our steps, our actions, our progress. And then the next one is trying to work on too many goals to begin with. And so, we want to do this. We want to play basketball. We want to play volleyball. We also want to, get into a science club, or we have, all of these different extracurricular activities that we may be interested in. And it takes a lot of work to really focus on one goal and to do it with, our own idea of mastery, or even the mastery set by the task. And so when we have too many goals that we're working towards, it can spread we spread ourselves thin. I can speak to that as an adult as well, but it really is important that children start to learn those behaviors early. So like if you have a goal in the future, you figure out what goal is most important right now and spend time, really figuring out what it's going to take to meet that goal. So a few tips that I jotted down that can help with students, and I put the title of this teen specifically, but this can apply to children and it can apply to adults. This is some of the work that I do also with some of my adult clients that work with me specifically for health services, health and wellness services. But what you want to do is you want to break down a big goal into smaller components. And so let's say you're working with your child and you want to get them to independently clean their room. Maybe what the first goal is to get them to independently make their bed and take out the trash. And so you want to break the big room of cleaning the whole room independently down into smaller tasks and then build from there. If you're just requiring this of your child where they maybe didn't have that as an expectation before, that big room can be really overwhelming. It could be overwhelming for the child because they have not really engaged in that task. And sometimes it could be frustrating for the adult because we have an expectation of what we want that room to look like. And so starting with something small and tangible is really important. That helps to set the pace, that helps to create quick wins, which is really important, because I don't know about you, but I know for me, if I am putting in a lot of work and I'm not seeing the results of the efforts that I'm putting in, it makes me very frustrated, and I'm probably going to quit, and I'm probably going to give up. And so being able to break those big goals down into sizable chunks or steps helps to create quick wins, which can be a really good thing for our self-esteem and our ability to want to continue to move forward with that goal. The next tip is to create an assessment system. Now, if you're working with the littles, like, you could do a sticker chart, or you could do a chart where they do a cross off and you have, for X amount of stickers or X amount of check marks, then you're able to, earn a reward, or you have some little intermediate reward that they get as they move in towards that bigger goal. Another one, especially for kids, my son, he likes basketball, and so tracking, let's say your student or your child has a desire to play basketball and they want to improve their jump shot. Maybe breaking down that jump shot goal is, okay, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to go out and I'm going to take 50 shots, and I'm going to do that consistently until my jump shot gets better. And so you're taking that big goal of improving your jump shot, which, you can't just improve it. You have to break that out into a task. And so the task could be taking 50 practice shots Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then the last tip is to work on 1 to 2 big goals at a time. We have a short period of time with our children, right? We try to cram so much of what we want to teach our children into 18, 19 years. Now, of course, we're going to be lifelong parents. However, we have a short window of opportunity where we are really in charge of the direct instruction that we provide, or the direct guidance that we provide to our children. It can be overwhelming, but it can also be rewarding. And there's no way to know what's going to go in, in terms of like what our child or our teenagers retain. However, we don't want to overwhelm them with too much. And so setting goals with your child or your teenager, especially for teens, is important. Maybe you guys sit down and you come up with 1 or 2 goals for, let's say, the upcoming school year that you want to obtain and that you want to move towards. And then you break that down. Maybe you break it down into some semesters. So let's say you have a child who wants to improve their math scores, right? Let's say, let's focus on first semester, or even first, the intermediate interim reports. You break it down something really small, and then you build from there. If your child's having struggles with all classes, it could be, I know, you want your child to improve, but it could be overwhelming if you're setting a goal. Okay, we're going to get straight A's across the board, or we're going to get straight A's and B's. Focus on 1 or 2 things that are really important. And sometimes that's hard to know what needs to take precedent at this point. But these are important things to help build the skill of being persistent towards a goal, helping your child and even yourself understand how to break down that big goal into small parts, but to also create successes along the way. I hope this was a little helpful for you as it pertains to how to help your child stay focused and on task and oriented towards the goals that they set. If you felt that this was helpful information, let me know in the comments. If you have a particular question, please, shoot me a DM, shoot me a private message. However, if you find that sticking with goals or staying on track towards things that maybe you and your child have set thus far, and you're starting to see that it's impacting them in a major way with their academics, maybe they're really, really struggling with being able to earn certain grades, or put in a certain amount of effort to reflect, that their efforts are not being reflected in their grades, in their tests, in their performance in class, then I encourage you to click the link, shoot me a message, or you can reach out and just call us. I'd be happy to do a 15-minute consultation for you. This is especially for children, families who are in the greater Cleveland area. I do provide 15-minute consultations. If you have just a general question, I encourage you to shoot me a message via DM. And I will be back next week. I will be sharing another executive functioning skill, and then I'm going to share tips and strategies on how to help you and your child strengthen those skills together.